Hello and happy holidays, one and all. This is the KMN 1971 back again with another comic book haul. I'm not usually in the habit of showing somewhat newish books, but I figured in the tradition of Christmas, why not kick off with this Batman annual that just came out a couple of weeks ago. The only reason that I'm really bringing it up, aside from the obvious fact that I am a huge Batman fan, is that this happens to feature a Christmas story by Neil Adams and Paul Dini that features Batman and Harley Quinn. So I figured this would probably be a bigger deal if Harley Quinn was actually on the cover of this annual. I don't know if there's a variant available for it or what, but I do remember when Neil Adams did his Harley Quinn homage cover on Detective Comics, as well as the Harley Quinn cover during Neil Adams Variant Month. That those were big hits with the fans, and seeing that anything that is Harley Quinn related is pretty much supernova white hot right now, I figured why not bring this to the community's attention, just in case there are a couple of people out there that don't know about it. Okay, another current book, Batman Adventures #2. Once again, the Harley factor. Why not? And while I was there, I also picked up this one, Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Excuse me, #1. And this is, let me see if I can get it on camera. This is the New England Comics exclusive. It's limited to only 1,000 copies, and it's signed by the cover artist Ian Nichols, which is cool. But as you can see, it features the Joker, Harley, the Riddler, Penguin, Catwoman, Batman, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. A limited cover of only 1,000 copies. I thought that was pretty cool and well worth, what was it, $6 minus 30% because of the sale going on. So, as a Batman fan, how could you turn that away? I couldn't. All right, getting down to the nitty gritty on my dollar binge from Black Friday, Scourge of the Earth, that I went through about a month ago. So this has been a glaring omission from my collection. Martial Law, the epic Marvel's imprint, Epic Comics imprint. This is one of those jewels from the grim and gritty 1980s that I have not read, but I've only heard great things about. So when I saw them in for $1, I said, heck yeah, bring it on. So, #2, #3, and #4. And if I like it, I will definitely seek out the rest of them. So, but I don't know. This guy right here, he definitely looks straight out of Frank Miller's The Dark Knight. He looks like the mutant leader in some kind of bizarro universe. Still working on my Conan run. This is Conan #266. Conan the Barbarian was canceled with issue 275, so the last year's worth of stories are supposed to be low print run. Not hard to, not expensive by any means, but kind of tough to come by. So Conan #266, 267, and 268. Marvel 2-in-1 Annual #5. When I was a youngster, and my parents would basically send me off to the comic book rack and told me that I could come back with 3 comics, and that's all I could get. I would always, my young devious mind would always look out for anniversary issues and annuals. This is back in the day when annuals were still pretty relevant, and this just brings me back to those days. So till this day, it's still kind of funny that I still have an eye out for anniversary issues and old school annuals like this. So anytime that the Hulk and Thing team up or battle each other, smack the shit out of each other, I don't care. I want that. So pretty cool to pick up. More Star Wars from Volume 1, #64, #67, 69. And anytime I can find Star Wars at a halfway decent shape for $1, which is rare and far between, I will snatch those up every time. This one right here, #70, is actually in VG shape. I ended up just taking the whole section of Star Wars books, and I just bought them all because I couldn't believe that they were all there. number 73, and number 75. So with the exceptions of 70 and 75, all of them are in very, well, fine plus to very fine minus condition, or very fine condition, period. Sadly, this is the last of my Uncanny X-Men run that I've picked out of the dollar bins. And as you know, I've broke them up over several runs, and or rather several hauls. And I must have picked up a good, like, 30 issues out of my Uncanny X-Men run. And for $1 at high grades, well, as one of my dealers, a little side note, one of my dealers tells me all the time that I'm one of the few customers that comes in looking for if there is nothing on the wall or if it's a low week and I'm just going for back issues. I'm one of the few people that still, one of his few customers that still go for back issues just to fill in some runs that I like. And most people just want, you know, those key issues, the key covers, the first appearances, and really the storylines aren't really that important to them. So, to each their own. Collect how you want to collect. I mean, I'm not besmirching anyone that collects that way. I'm happy for anyone that helps to keep my hobby alive. You know, even if we do collect for very different reasons. But that would explain why I find so many cool things in the dollar bins nowadays. So, moving on. Uncanny X-Men number 218. Number 223. Number 233. And the cool bargain bin find for this batch would be Wolverine Annual number 99, Grudge Match with Deadpool. I was like, huh, what are you doing there? I'll take that. Okay, so the next group of books, and it's a good segue into the next group of books, actually. So that was the end of the dollar bin stuff. This is just regular long boxes. Nothing from the wall. No wall buys here, but just good solid stuff. Mercenaut was the first one to give the community, I believe, a heads up on this story arc. And this is Wolverine Origins, Wolverine versus Deadpool, and it was kind of almost a prequel to Deadpool's second ongoing volume that was written by Daniel Way. So I picked up, I want to say 3 of these from my local comic book shop, and I ended up getting 2 of these from Midtown Comics. They were all around like $3 to $4 a piece, so not bad at all. And they all have these awesome Simone Bianchi covers, which I really dig this cover, but I always, a pet peeve of mine, I always hated it when people gave Wolverine the exaggerated claws like this. I mean, where are those claws going when he retracts them? I don't know. It's kind of like when artists give Batman the bat ears that are way too big. And another one of my pet peeves. Number 22. Number 23. Number 24. I love that cover. That's probably my favorite cover out of the bunch. And number 25, which contains a reprint of New Mutants in '98. Tales of the New Teen Titans, number 2, Origin of Raven. I actually bought these months ago, but I just got around to reading them, and I was about to file them away in the long box, and I said, why not show them off before they're filed away forever? So, these are kind of important to me because, well, 1, I used to own them back in the day, and 2, these were the last couple of issues that I needed to complete my entire Marv Wolfman, George Perez, New Teen Titans run. So now I own every single New Teen Titans story that the classic creative team of Marv Wolfman and George Perez did, which for me, that's a pretty big milestone. For the most part, very inexpensive because they were a very popular title, basically saved the DC comic book line from what I've read, and it's taken a while for some of these books to jump in value. None of these are really worth anything, but I'm very happy to have them. Tales of the Teen Titans number 3, featuring the origin of Changeling, and Tales of the Teen Titans number 4, featuring the origin of Starfire. And with all the reboots that go on every like 5 to 10 years or so, it's kind of cool to have the original origins of Starfire, Raven, and, well, I have the first issue also with Cyborg, so it's kind of cool after all the retcons you can go back to see where the original origin was like. have a little Punisher in my run. So Punisher POV, I totally missed the boat on this series too. I mean, Punisher, check. Jim Starlin, check. Bernie Wrightson, check. So I don't know anything about this series, but just with the characters and creators involved, I had to pick it up. And these were also only like around $3 a piece. So number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Another book that I've been wanting to get for a little while and just keep spacing it out. I mean, it's not high on the list, but it was always one that I was interested in. The Silver Surfer one-shot from the 1980s, done by John Byrne, who I was a huge fan of, especially during the 1980s. I mean, it was kind of hard not to be. Here we have an anniversary issue. This is one of my favorite anniversary issues, too. Superman number 400. Fantastic Jim Steranko cover. And a nice little cross-company crossover. The Incredible Hulk versus Superman, written by Roger Stern and illustrated by Steve the Dude Rude in very heavy Jack Kirby-esque fashion, which was pretty awesome. Adventures on the Planet of the Apes, number 10. I want to say that I only need like 2 or 3 more issues of this, and I'll have this volume complete, which I'm pretty happy about. Keeping on in the Bronze Age. Doctor Strange, number 16. I just picked this one up yesterday, actually. And I just flipped through it. Looks really good. Gene Colan art. And I want to say that he's, the very first page, he was facing off against Satan. Some nice, easy reading back in the 70s, huh? Captain Marvel, number 39. And Captain Marvel, number 43. Paid $5 a piece for both of those, and these will probably be the last Captain Marvel issues that I buy. I go to 4, I basically have 4 LCSs that I go to, and one of them doesn't deal with any new issues whatsoever. It's all back issues, and he doesn't do much eBay very much, and he has a great treasure trove as far. That's where I go for my Tomb of Dracula issues, but it seems like anything that I buy there, if I usually go there maybe only once a month, and these Captain Marvel issues, he has a pretty good run of Captain Marvel Volume 1, and I had no problems paying $5. They're pretty high grade, but he seems to have marked up everything else up to $10 a book now, the last time I visited, so I don't think I'll be buying many more Captain Marvel issues. I mean, if it was $10 an issue for a Silver Age issue, I wouldn't have a problem with, but for these Bronze Age issues for $10 a piece, that's a little overboard, unfortunately. So I'll have to wait for my Mile High list for them to pop up on there, unfortunately. But I did pick this one up there for $10. This is probably fine minus to VG Plus Captain Marvel number 17. This is I bought it mainly for the iconic cover of his new costume at the time, which did not debut in this issue, actually. It debuted in issue number 16, which I also own, but didn't pick it up this week. I am still working on Deadpool Volume 1. I didn't really become a Deadpool fan until Volume 3, so everything else that I've picked up, and the only other Deadpool comic that I owned prior to that was New Mutants 98, which had his first appearance. So I didn't really become a Deadpool fan until Volume 3, so I've been picking up all, anything prior to Volume 3 is all back issues that I've picked up within probably the last 2 to 3 years. So this was, well, $10, and with a 20% discount, came out to $8, so I had no problem with that. Number 7, Deadpool number 7 from his first volume. And number 8, and this was the one that I was most pleased to pick up. Number 42, an homage / parody to the G.I. Joe silent issue. I forget, this was either $12 or $15, or was that half price sale at one of my other LCSs. All right, let's get into some speculation. Gotham City Sirens has been, I mean, if you turned on your internet and went to any of the comic book sites, this is one of the most popular subjects going on right now. This was probably last week a $1 to $3 book, depending on where you would get it and what grade. This was something that was already in my collection to begin with, so I just fished it out to show you guys and gals. Detective Comics number 850. This is the origin of the Gotham City Sirens, on how Selena Kyle stole money from Hush and ended up funding the Gotham City Sirens. And even though, why am I showing this off if I didn't pick this up this week? Because what I did pick up this week was this issue right here. Gotham City Sirens, oh, not Gotham, Harley Quinn from her first volume, number 3. And this isn't a scoop on my part. I'm just regurgitating someone else's article that I read on CBSI earlier this week. But as he said, Batman Detective Comics, it does show Selena Kyle contacting Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn at the end of the storyline to set up Gotham City Sirens. So it basically just predates Gotham City Sirens number 1. But this issue, Harley Quinn number 3, this is the first time in DC continuity that all 3 of these characters are interacting with each other. Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and Harley Quinn. And it certainly doesn't hurt the factor of having Terry Dodson draw them having a pillow fight on the cover, obviously. So, now, the first time that the 3 of these characters interacted was in Batman Adventures number 12, like you needed even more incentive to want that book. But that was not in DC continuity. This, in Harley Quinn number 3, was the first time that they all interacted within DC continuity. So, checking on eBay, Detective Comics number 850, it's already going for like $25. And I want to say that you could still probably, if you get out there now and you're quick about it, go out there, and it could still be in a long box somewhere. You could still get it under the radar and still buy that stuff. I couldn't. I tried to scrounge up a second copy this week so I wouldn't have to dig out my copy of Detective Comics. But they're all out in all 4 of my stores. I couldn't find any. So good luck. That's half the fun of the hunt is half the fun of the hobby. So, but to get back to my point though, Harley Quinn number 3, you can still get this book for like maybe between $10 and $20 online. So the mainstream comic book ravenous audience has not caught on to Harley Quinn number 3 yet, and who knows if they will. But I can't. I don't think it'll hurt to pick it up. That's it. Go. All right, the last 3 of my books put the X in Happy Xmas. X-Men number 97. X-Men 96. Alright, so I paid like $20 for this. I paid $22 for this bad boy right here. Unfortunately, and he did have it in the description. It's a great copy, except for this bottom corner. It looks like someone laid a drink on it, so there is some wrinkling from moisture. I talked to one of my dealers at one of my LCSs, and he said that he does know a guy that does pressing, and he would press it for me for free, or if not, it might cost me $10 or whatever. But I'm really looking forward, and that would be the first book that I'd ever had pressed too, so I'm looking forward to see how that goes down. And the pick of the bunch, all new, all different X-Men number 95. Oh yeah, as I said last week, I've been very conservative with the holidays. I haven't spent over $22 on any of my back issues, but this was the one that I did spend over that limit. I ended up spending $49 on this issue. It's fine plus to very fine minus. Very happy to own it. The Death of Thunderbird. This is just an epic run in comic books right here. I now have a run of X-Men from 95 to 151. I already own Giant Size X-Men number 1, so I just need X-Men 94, which I will be getting sometime next year to fill in that run. And I consider this to be probably the quintessential run of all runs in comic books. This is the run that I would put it in comparison to the generation before me, how they felt about the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby Fantastic Four run, and how influential it was on the medium. That's how I feel about this run right here. And let me just correct myself on something I said last week. I correct myself often on this channel. I don't even know what comes out of my mouth half the time. But I said last week that I own a run from, I think it was 98 to 151, which I felt was it encompassed the golden age on the X-Men franchise, which I stand by to some degree. It's the introduction of the new X-Men and the John Byrne, Chris Claremont run, Doc Phoenix, Days of Future Past. But I would like to extend that golden age run to 175. So, which would encompass the second Dave Cockrum run on the title, the introduction of Paul Smith on the title, and also Rogue joining the X-Men, as well as some of my favorite X-Men story arcs with the X-Men taking on Doctor Doom, the introduction of the Brood, and the sequel, if you will, to the original Wolverine, or the follow-up to the original Wolverine in Japan's miniseries that was out by Claremont and Frank Miller back in the 1980s. So those are some of my favorite X-Men stories, and something that just goes into what I consider to be the ultimate run in all of comic books. I'm more of a DC fan, than Marvel. If you have to make that, that old Quentin Tarantino comparison of liking Elvis or liking the Beatles, you can like both, but you have to like one slightly more than the other. I slightly like DC more than Marvel, but my all-time favorite run would be right here, the X-Men. That's all I have for this week. I will be back next week for my last haul of 2016. Some muses and summaries of the industry and the hobby. I'll also have my top 10 pickups of 2016. I hope you'll all enjoy it. I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas or a very happy holiday season out there. And thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. And thank you just for being comic book geeks. There's not enough of us out there. But hopefully, this channel can keep that tradition going. So, have a great day. Have a very Merry Christmas Eve out there. And, yeah, goodbye. Take it easy.